You're listening to the Grind Line Podcast.
What's up, and welcome to another episode of the Grind Line Podcast. You're listening to episode 326. I'm your host, Greg. I'm here tonight with Ryan, and Tyler decided to grace us with his presence. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm great. I'm great.
I'm doing good. Watching a lot of these Stanley Cup playoffs. Saw the Griffins get eliminated. What was it, on Friday night in a double overtime game?
Freaking worked is what the word
Tough
is.
one, man. That Texas team is pretty damn good. They always seem to have a pretty good AHL team, do the Dallas Stars. So it's tough to see them not go on a run. But yeah.
Tough to see them fall off the wagon the way they did.
Yeah,
just look
sucks.
really uninspired in some of the games, and then people started shitting all over Kosa, which I don't think was fair. Kosa played decent to good, and the defense left him out to dry a lot. So I feel bad for him, especially after the comments Yzerman made about him in the postseason presser, where we thought, hey, maybe he's kind of close to being a lock to get the third role or play some backup games. And Yzerman just basically said we need to see a lot more from him. He needs to prove that he can be consistent or up his game. Like, they like the progress, but they need to see more. And for a guy that's, I mean, he's still young, he's still 22. For him not to get kind of the help he needed to really make that push was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, it sucks. But I mean, the comments, and then you look at the performance, arguably, it doesn't bode well for that have been critical of it. So it is what it is. I mean, you want those kinks to be worked out by the time you're in Detroit, right? So at this point, people want to get pissed off at it. I don't really care. You've still got a Trey Augustine. I mean, this is worst case scenario. That things go wrong with Kosa, you got potential there in net long term, hopefully. But Yzerman made it clear there's an expectation. They haven't rushed him intentionally. They're slowly but surely getting him top minutes. You just let it play out. We know that goalies are a different monster. We've seen the comments from people down at Grand Rapids that the defense has been absolutely abysmal. And that sort of was their downfall the last part of the season and going into these playoffs. They just didn't play a good team defense, and the goaltending couldn't bail them out.
Yeah, I'll start to get worried when the guys from the Hockey Town West podcast start to get worried. We were talking to Nick at the Discord, and he said that from what he saw, and they watched every game, that Kosa was not the issue. It was the defense that was the issue. People that keep saying, bring up Tuomisto. He is consistently one stride behind literally everyone else. And that's one of the problems, is like some of your guys are too slow. So it is what it is, and they'll have another shot at it next year, and they'll get guys like MBN for a full season, which he's going to be an absolute menace in that league. I think you'll
He's
get
doing
ASP.
in the world right now too.
We hope ASP makes the team, but you may get him for part of the season. Some other guys come over. Anton Johansson's another guy who's quickly rocketed up the depth charts. If you want to know more about him, you could ask Lars. But he is another guy that has been really, really impressing the people in Grand Rapids after coming over from his season over in Sweden. So there's hope in Grand Rapids. But what we are going to talk about is other guys that are over at the Worlds currently in Lucas Raymond and Marco Kasper. So the Red Wings have Kasper,
two of them, but they're standing out.
They're the ones that are performing really well. The Red Wings have Kasper, Raymond, Edvinsson, Gustafsson, and MBN. Those are the ones that are at the Worlds.
Yep.
And Lucas Raymond was named player of the game a few days ago. Marco Kasper was named player of the game as well. They each have 3 points in 3 games, so they're on a point per game pace. Marco Kasper basically is Team Austria. Like, it's him. He's Captain Austria over there. Lucas Raymond's putting another solid international performance together. And just, it's the guys that you hope to do well and you hope to take that next step forward next season, that end their season, go over to keep playing and keep warmed up, play international hockey, and just look damn good doing it.
Well, yeah, it's especially helpful when you get guys like Stephen Ellis over at Daily Faceoff calling out Raymond and Kasper in particular for their performance. Those are things, as a Wings fan, I get it. We keep banging the door down on prospects and young players to try to make this team get back into the glory days. But that's what you want to see and how things are going. And it's promising because Casper, I think, to start the year, we were hoping he could maybe crack the roster and see how he'd come back and see what happens. I don't think any of us expected the year that he had. I mean, the way it started, it was like, crap, here we go again. This may not be great. Then we saw the impact that McClellan had on him, and I hope that bodes well going into, obviously, that's a great start to the offseason for him. He can take this momentum into his offseason training program, and then boom, you've got a solid guy down the middle who isn't afraid to throw the body. I think Mex threw it in the Discord. Where was he at in hits for the season?
Marco Kasper had
There we
156
go.
hits on the season.
Second on the team in hits. Like, there's an edge if you want to go back to the days of I think Biz started at Stevie Y's Goon Squad. There's elements there to make this team hard to play against. We know watching these playoffs, Tyler, to your point and your excitement about the NHL playoffs, they've got to be hard to play against. And Javi fucking Baez just went yard. Let's go. Tigers take the lead. 3-run bomb. Javi Baez is back, baby. Anyways, but
that's
you
for
want
you,
to
Scotty
see
Bentley,
this,
Locked On Red Wings.
you want to see this type of intensity from younger players because you look at these games in the playoffs right now and they're intense. There's guys throwing big hits. Like, you look at this Florida series in particular, they are a team you don't fuck around with. They're going to make you feel every shift. They're going to go after your top players in that fashion. And we're seeing that impacting Toronto, who we thought started out the series great. They might just run away with it pretty quickly. And now quickly it's 2-2. So you want to be a difficult team. And if Detroit can start building that base, but you need to be a difficult team to play against, like Carolina, for instance. But you need that skill factor with it. It can't be just one or the other. You got to have both. You got to be a jerk, but you got to be able to score goals.
Yeah, and you mentioned that second in hits on the team. As a rookie, he's also sixth on the team in points. I mean, 77 games played, 37 points, 19 goals, 18 assists. And that is after, most of that after Todd came in and is like, hey, you're a kid and you're really good. We're actually going to, move you up the lineup, play you, give you some first line time because we want you to be a top 6 player. So we're going to play you as a top 6 player. And when he did that, you saw the development, you saw the leaps, you saw him take that responsibility on himself to improve his game. He's a smart kid. He speaks 3 different languages. He's got really good vision, really good hockey IQ. He wants to learn the game, and Todd came in and gave him the opportunity to do that, and he took off with it. So Marco Kasper is a dude, like I said, he goes into this tournament, he picks up where he left off the end of the season and is just out there overperforming and constantly learning. Tyler, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing, my takeaway from these Stanley Cup playoffs is you don't need to always have the best defenseman in the world. Like, look at the Dallas Stars. Like, Labushkin's in there. They got Petrovic playing. Like, they don't have 6 world beater defensemen, but Harley's playing phenomenal for Dallas. Heiskanen's back now. Like, they are all playing to that level. And the Wings, you do have Sider, you do have Edvinsson. But outside of that, you still need to kind of build it, and Johansson, obviously. But in terms of the Worlds, I haven't watched a whole lot of it, but what I have seen is Kasper and Raymond have really stood out. Sider and Team Germany are killing it right now, so love to see that. I mean, just got to pray for health. I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to a tournament like this, is just stay healthy, develop a little bit, especially with Kasper playing for, is it Austria?
Yeah, Austria. Everyone will tell you Australia.
No, yeah, Austria. But that's big because get some international experience under your belt, and just kind of develop from there. Because I mean, if you would have told me that Marco Kasper was going to be the second line center, at the start of training camp last year, telling me that's how it would have shaken out, I would have believed you, but it would have been with some hesitation because he was still young, he was still kind of developing. And I think he exceeded expectations. I should say, I think he met expectations, and in a lot of cases, I think he exceeded the expectations. So, it'll be a big. Was it year 3 now for Kasper, or is it full year 2?
It'll be
Two.
a full year 2 next season.
Year 2. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing, and development is obviously at the forefront of it, but he's developing at the NHL level, and that's beautiful to see. And hopefully that he can continue to get even better, because if he can, the sky's the limit.
And one thing Ryan mentioned, he mentioned the write up that happened that Stephen Ellis did. And one thing kind of stuck out about Marco Kasper's evaluation is he says he does so much with so little, and his work ethic is second to none. And that is something Yzerman's been drafting, is those high work ethic players. And if you look at Grand Rapids, Nate Daniels is another one. He's a guy that goes out there, learns every shift, takes responsibility, gets the leadership kind of role, but goes out there and is just constantly plugging away and trying to make something out of nothing, which I've seen him do several times. Marco's the same guy who's doing that. If he's getting a chance to throw the puck on the net, he's throwing the puck on the net. If he's getting the chance to go to the corner and pick out the puck and just throw it to a teammate, he's doing it. So it's that kind of dog attitude that he's got, where he's going to be in the play, he's going to rough it up a little bit, and he's going to come out with the puck and he's going to make something of it. That's the one thing that kind of stands out about Marco Kasper. And I think if he can evolve that and keep it going, I mean, he can fight Nate Danielson for a 2C spot. In worst case, you move one to the wing, and you've got a lot of really defensively responsible players, which is really nice. But all Marco, I think, really needs to. Well, yeah, but all Marco needs to do, I think, to hold it down is really work on those face-off numbers, which we've mentioned
never
before.
have enough center depth in the NHL.
You can't have enough centers, period. Like, if your entire forward lineup is all centers and some of them are really offensive, you've got a damn good defensive team.
Look at the old school Wings teams, how many centers they could rotate through, especially when they got to their third and fourth line. They can move guys wing to center all day, and they benefited from it because they played a full team 200-foot game of ice.
In some cases, you can move your number 2 center to play defense, like Sergei Fedorov did.
That'd be great.
Yeah, let's make it real fucking weird. The other guy that's doing really well over the Worlds, and this is, like I said, this is a given, Lucas Raymond. And Ellis says that Raymond has gotten better with every game, and today he had 2 assists and 7 shots. So the day he was named player of the game, 2 assists and 7 shots on net. He had hands of gold. He saw the ice so well and kept exploiting Finland's defense. He's still seeking his first goal of the tournament, but it'll come. For now, I love the playmaking. And that is one thing we know Lucas Raymond can do, and that's the thing he did really well this season, is he's another dude with eagle eye and just amazing passing. His timing is impeccable. His passes are crisp, right on the player's tape. And it's just, he did the thing early on that was, and we talked about it, I think, that he's good at the fake. He'll look the goalie right in the eye, and the goalie doesn't know if he's going to shoot, if he's going to pass, because if he shoots, he's got a laser of a shot and is real accurate. If he passes, he's got a laser of a pass, and you've got a guy backdoor like DeBrincat ready to bury the puck. Lucas Raymond's an incredibly dangerous player in that aspect, and that's why he's going to rack up so many points. Like, I think in a couple seasons, I think Lucas Raymond's going to be a 100-point player.
That's your best case scenario. You need it, to be honest. I mean, you also need someone to complement that. I would like to see more points out of Larkin. I think we've been harping on that for a while, but it doesn't take away from what he still brings to this team. I love that someone posted recently the career stats between him and Gabe Landeskog, and the only difference is that one team has a Stanley Cup, the other one doesn't, but one guy gets shit on, the other one gets praised. Take that with what you want. But Raymond, to your point, also plays with a bit of an edge. He's not afraid to mix it up. Does he not? He doesn't necessarily seek it out. I don't blame him. You don't want him doing that. But I think that adds to what Detroit has been building, and he is at the forefront with Mo Seider. Now you've got Kasper coming in. Those are guys, as mentioned, part of your core. They need it. This is the youth movement so many fans have been clamoring for. You're seeing it in real time. Now, can you have that patience? Most will say no, but that's the risk you take of having a team that you ripped to the studs just 4 years ago, and now are hoping to try to compete for a Stanley Cup or even just playoffs.
This season, we're going to have to, or sometime this offseason, go over that 2019-2020 roster and look at the difference between then and now, because it's pretty crazy.
Dude, where are they now, for that matter?
Do a Sporkle.
It's
can you
what
name
what insurance or real estate agency are they working for currently? And we'll go down the whole list for that roster.
No, I just think the biggest thing of just watching these playoffs too, and if you look at like some of the teams that almost have no chance. I don't want to say no chance because it's a sport and like anything can happen really, but like look at some of the teams that just didn't have the difference makers and they're bounced in the first round. Washington
Minnesota.
doesn't really have the difference makers either, and they're in the second round, looking like they have zero chance against Carolina. Like you look at the Wings roster right now, who are the difference makers? I challenge you guys. It's Raymond, it's Larkin, DeBrincat.
DeBrincat.
Do you put Kane in that category?
Yeah.
Second half of the season, yeah.
Okay.
With Todd McClellan, he was their best point. Like I think he was the only one that finished or right just below a point per game.
And then not only that, but then on defense, you have difference makers in terms of Moritz Seider and potentially Simon Edvinsson, but that's it after that. And that's I think the biggest gap of where the playoff teams are versus where the Wings are. And then in net obviously is another thing, but yeah.
I mean, it depends on which way you want to look at it. If you're looking at the way they're trying to put points up, meaning puck in net or setting up goals, yes, I agree. But you can also be a difference maker by just being a sound team. And that's where you get a lot from Carolina. They're one of the worst teams to play against as far as what they do to you defensively. Like they are eating people up game in and game out. Is Detroit going to be that way? No. It's Brendan Moore has some crazy voodoo for coaching that has worked out in his favor since he came in. And that's what plays to their advantage. I mean, yes, they've made some good moves. I mean, Agassi, he returned to them after being in Detroit, and he's been awesome. But they are just, you have to have everything has to come together, right? To make yourself playoff viable. And then what can you do from there?
And you got to avoid the losing streaks. I mean, that's kind of the key.
We can skip March.
To avoid the long losing.
Yeah, don't go on to 7 game. We like the 7-game heaters. We don't like the 5-game losing streaks.
Yep.
What we're gonna do real quick though, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk about what Marco Kasper and Lucas Raymond we think they can do going into next season and kind of what their production might end up being based on where they were this season. So give us a quick minute. Word from our sponsor. We'll be right back. During our quick break, I just want to tell everyone about something that's totally changed my mornings. Strong Coffee Company. If you're like me, you love your coffee, but you also want it to actually do something for you. This is the upgrade you've been looking for. Strong Coffee isn't your average cup of joe. It's an all-in-one instant blend made for people who care about their health and performance. You're getting 15 grams of grass-fed protein, 5 grams of MCTs for long-lasting energy, and adaptogens like ashwagandha and L-theanine to help you stay calm, focused, and productive without the jitters or crash. The black blend is bold and smooth, made from organic fair trade Arabica beans, and their lattes, they've got collagen, hyaluronic acid, healthy fats, the works. It tastes amazing and helps you feel sharper, sleep better, and just show up as your best self every day. And on top of all that, they're eco-friendly too, so you can feel good about what you're putting in your body and how it's made. Check them out at strongcoffeecompany.com and use our code GRINDLINE, that's strongcoffeecompany.com, promo code GRINDLINE at checkout for 20% off. That's GRINDLINE for 20% off your order. Give it a shot. I think you're going to love it. The NBA 82 game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for the high-stakes drama, clutch moments, and jaw-dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30 points, 40, or more? It's your call. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
And we're back. We're going to talk a little bit about where we think that these two players can be going. So, to round out the episode, Marco Kasper. Marco Kasper this season, I will put up on the screen for those of you watching on YouTube. If not, you can go check us out on YouTube, sub and turn on notifications, and like our videos. It helps like boost the rankings and get us some downloads. But Marco Kasper this season, all time on ice, 1,190 minutes tracked. 68 overall with an offense of 67, a defense of 58 per Evolving Hockey's stat card. Positive offensively, positive defensively. Of course, not great shorthanded defensively, but I mean, how many people are? This season, Marco Kasper, like I said, 77 games played, 19 goals, 18 assists, 37 points. The one thing, he actually was a plus on the team. Marco Kasper was a +1 on the team, where most people are minuses. 34 penalty minutes. He did really well even strength. So 17 of his 19 goals were even strength goals, which is super impressive.
Third on the team.
Yeah, 16 of his 18 assists were even strength assists. So when you say, hey guys, we need a lot of 5-on-5 help, Marco Kasper is one of the guys that is his strength. He had 15 minutes and 27 seconds average time on ice with a face-off percentage of 44.9. That is something that he has identified. He knows he needs to get better in the dot. That is something he's going to practice this offseason. And like Ryan said, 156 hits. So where do we think Marco Kasper can land next season? What do you want to see him improve, and where do you think his numbers might go?
37 points. And I mean, really what you want to look at, I'll cheat it. So, I mean, if you look at Detroit and you look at what Kasper was able to do under Todd McClellan since taking over, he had averaged 0.63 points a game. If you've got him averaging that, so that takes you to what? Who's got a calculator out?
I mean, you're on a computer.
If you're putting him at 52 plus points a game, or a season, excuse me, I think you're in a great spot. I think ideally, if you're moving him in as your second line center, you see some of those improvements and you see that continued growth, and he doesn't hit that sophomore slump. I think it could be realistic to assume that he can hit 60 points. Is that bold? It might be. You need it though. And if this is a solid offseason in terms of acquisitions for Detroit, say they luck out, they bring in a Mitch Marner, that total should go up for everyone that's involved with him on the ice. That is your best case scenario. If they get some more role player types, maybe that 52 is your likely path. But I could see an over under a 55 set for Kasper coming into year 2 to really start to impact this roster in a positive manner in terms of scoring, and continue. But it has to continue at 5-on-5, because that is what we need, that growth to keep going on as a team. We know that the power play was lights out. It has been the last couple of years. Tanguay has survived, it seems, the coaching shuffle, and that is going to be important. Hopefully you see him making an impact, whether likely on the second pairing or second group. But if that happens, you see him at 55, 60 points. This is a much improved team in a very good way.
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on what you do this offseason. And we said that Yzerman needs to nail it. I mean, you get a guy like Ehlers, you get a guy like Sam Bennett, you get a guy like you said, Mitch Marner, and it allows you to shuffle the lineup and just, I think, help Kasper have more options. You get more options for him to pass to. You get more setup guys to feed him to get goals. And it just loosens him up a little bit. So I think that's fair. I think if you can get him to get 55 points, if you can get him to get 50 points, you're, I mean, pretty far above what's that, 13 points higher than what he would have had this season. 13 more points is probably a playoff spot. So it's guys that you bring in that start doing well, that when you improve them and they help the team grow, then you move up in the standings because they're helping you on a nightly basis win more games.
Well, and when you look at it with an Andrew Kopp and JT Compher, your other top centers, or at least your next highest paid centers, you need that, because Compher, for whatever reason, just could not get things going this year. 32 points in 76 games. Andrew Kopp was playing at over a half point per game, so he would have been close to that total that we're talking about right now with Kasper. I think that he gets there. If you've got your center depth knocking those things out for you, getting to 45 plus points per outside your top line center, that's a good situation to be in. You want that balance. Not every team is going to be a Toronto where you're seeing 3 guys at 80 plus points or whatever it is, 4 guys. You look at a Carolina or Florida, there's balance there with how they're doing it. You don't need to have the best goal scorer or point maker on the team to make you a playoff viable team. You need balance. If you have that with, if you don't see any changes with a Cop or a Comfer in your center depth, you go into this year with that same group fully healthy, I think it can be impactful and they could hopefully feed off each other. And now you've got flexibility with a Kasper and a Cop, who Cop, for all intents and purposes, was playing extremely well with the coaching change. Shocker.
Yeah,
So,
and you lost a bunch of defense when he went down.
Yeah. So I think that's your best case scenario. You get Cop back, he's at a half point per game. You get Kasper back, he's over that half point per game. Now you're in a pretty good spot, and that is what you can hope for.
Tyler, what's your prediction for Kasper?
I agree. I think anywhere from 60 to 70 points. I know that might be aggressive, but it depends on.
Wow, he's going 60
Jeez.
plus. All right, so we should jot this down for a change. I'm saying over under a 55. Tyler's going 60.
Yeah, I'll say 65. That's what I'll say. That'll be the number I say.
Wow,
65 points. Because
that's going in the
The
Discord.
balls on this guy.
no, because think about it. Like if you do bring in a Mitch Marner, or you do bring in a Marty Necas via trade or something like that, that's the other thing I was gonna say. I like that idea almost better than the Mitch Marner. The bigger player, he can score goals on his own. I like that idea. If you can't bring Marner in, I almost like it a little bit better. But anyways, I think that Kasper being the full year number 2, and then playing with some better players, I see him popping off this year. I really do. I think the development path is trending upward, and I just, like I said, I think the sky is the limit. Not to repeat myself, but I really do think that. He played 15 minutes a night last year. I think that's going to go up too. He's just going to be on the ice a bit more. Do you see him killing penalties going forward too? I think that McClellan's not afraid to use his better players killing penalties. You can see some shorthanded goals. Yeah,
You can't be.
I see
Can't be afraid of
65
that.
points, somewhere around there.
So wait, is your over under 60 or 65?
I would say it's 60.
All right, actually, we need to do it. It has
He
to be
came
a
down
half.
a bit. He realized his first prediction was a little insane.
I'm going 55 and a half. I'm giving you 60 and a half. This is going in the Discord.
All right,
Yeah,
so
you
we're
never
going
show up then.
60 and a half, 60 and a half over. I'm going to say that.
Oh God.
It
All
could
right.
be a sophomore slump. We don't know, but
Well, you want to
judging
get real
for
crazy then, Tyler? Let's get real crazy. Lucas Raymond, 82 games played, 27 goals, 53 assists for 80 points. He had 18 penalty minutes, which is actually really impressive for his 18 minutes and 47 seconds of average time on ice. 34 block shots, so he's not really blocking shots, but he's out there scoring goals. He's out there
He's playing all situations.
putting pucks in net. He was third in scoring behind Alex DeBrincat and Dylan Larkin as far as goals go. So, he's another guy that I think he's super young. That's the other thing about Lucas Raymond is people talk about Lucas Raymond and maybe this is his peak. He's 23 years old. He's so young, and he's doing what you're asking him to do. Sure, there was a little bit of a slump down the stretch where we kind of really could have used goals from him probably, but he probably tweaked something coming out of Four Nations. I'm pretty sure him and Larkin coming out of Four Nations were kind of ragged a little bit, and they didn't get the rest everyone else did, which really isn't an excuse. But I think if you have a full season of healthy Lucas Raymond, who starts off, because I think he also started off the season kind of slow in scoring, if he can start and then carry it out consistently through the season, you could have another guy who reaches 40 goals. If he has 40 goals, 53 assists, you're looking at 93 points. I think last year I said his ceiling this season could have been 90. I'm going to stick with it for next season. I think Lucas Raymond hits 90 points next season.
Well,
I like that.
Real quick before I go to Ray, what's your over under for Kasper?
My over under for Marco Kasper, let's put him at 50.
50, 55, and 50.5, and you say over or under?
I think he will go over.
All right. Now, to that point, I mean, with Raymond, you said 90 points you can hit.
Yeah, I think Raymond could safely hit 90 next season.
I think that's fair. I mean, you're looking at a guy that has played a full season the past 2 years. Huge. You need that. But what you're seeing really since he came into the league, I take that back. He's hit 82 games in 3 of his 4 seasons. That's pretty good. So
Durable dude.
For a guy to do that, to improve year over year, I mean, 21-22, he had 57 points, then dropped down to 45, a bit of a sophomore slump. But he has improved. He had almost 30-point jump from 22-23 to 23-24. Huge. He again improved off of that season with 80 points, his career high this past year. I think best case scenario to kind of what you're saying is that you definitely want to see him hitting 30 goals. That puts you in a beautiful spot especially for him to get toward 90 points. Even if he doesn't hit 30 goals, if he's hitting 90 points, that's a win, because that means your team's putting the puck in the net and he's helping them do it. I think if we're still seeing that improvement, if you get improvement from Kasper, like we've already talked about, you have continued growth and improvement from Lucas Raymond, who I think is potentially on a path toward a superstar level. Is he going to be a McDavid? No. Does he need to be? No. Can he be one of the top or the best Red Wing offensively? Yes. And that's a very good thing to have, because that takes a lot off Larkin. It takes a lot off of DeBrincat. It takes a lot off of Kasper. But it also elevates those that are around you. We've talked about it before with what the impact that a Zetterberg and a Datsuk had on a team. And really, you've seen the output from players as well. And Riley Green is a fucking beast in the outfield right now.
It's amazing. This Tigers game is amazing.
Oh my God. What a dive. Full extension, mouth open, beautiful. But if you have a guy like Raymond, he's going to make players around him better. That is what you want for a growing team that is trying to get into the playoffs. So I think 90 points is a fair thing to look at.
So for Raymond, Ryan put me at 89.5, and I'll take the over.
89.5.
I'm going to go 85.5, and I'll take the over on 85.5. I don't know about 89.
Play it safe.
But
I'll go with a point per game, 82.5. I'm gonna go conservative, and I'll take the over.
I think bottom line on Raymond, though, is it's the guy you need to keep developing the way he is and turning into that superstar level player. And like you said, yeah, he doesn't need to be generational. He's not going to be generational, but I think he can hit superstar level. And again, it's also what you put around him this offseason. If you get a guy like Ehlers on the top line and it's Ehlers, Larkin, Raymond, or you get a guy like Marner and it's Marner, Larkin, Raymond, that's like you're only adding firepower to boost those point totals. And we said that when Cat came in, we said, oh, look, Larkin wasn't a point per game player because the more you surround him with people and people he can pass to, because we know Larkin is a setup guy first, a goal scorer second, the more you need talent to put around him to get him the puck, to get him, let him distribute to, and the point totals will go up. And we saw that happen. And the same thing with DeBrincat. DeBrincat had 70 points this season, but 39 goals. You were able to feed him and get points. So that is one thing that you put new guys around them and you put high power guys around them like Steve should be doing this offseason as point totals go up. But guys, I want to get your final thoughts before we sign off tonight. Tyler, we're going to start with you.
yeah, final thoughts are there's a big offseason coming up for the Wings. Enjoy the Stanley Cup playoffs because they've been phenomenal so far, other than last night. Last night was kind of a dud. But Griffins are out. Walleye are still in. I believe they're in the Western Conference Final, if that's what they call it. So the organization is pretty much done for the season outside of the ECHL. And the guys at the Worlds, and then other than that, then it'll be Steve Eisenman will be on the clock at the draft and at free agency. And it's going to be a big offseason. They really need to make some real improvements on this roster. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at the same thing next April, May. So Hopefully we're not. Hopefully we're in the playoffs, but there's a long way to go here. You can follow me on Twitter at SealDog91.
No, I was thinking we should try to do something for the draft this year. Friday night, I got a softball tournament that weekend for the daughter, but try to do something Friday. Anyways, keep watching playoff hockey if you're a fan. It's been a lot of fun to this point across the board, and it's getting interesting. There's a lot of drama, if you will, but it's fun drama. So hopefully we can be stressed out like this come next year and not have to be as free willing of what we're seeing on TV. Other than that, yeah, go Tigers. Already around 33.
Yeah, you can follow me online at Bringing the Wing. Follow the Grindline Podcast online at Grindline Pod. You can sub to us over on YouTube at Grindline Pod. Turn on those notifications. You'll get notified whenever an episode goes live. We give a shout out to the Hockey Podcast Network and thank them for hosting us and spreading us around. Vintage Detroit, which is the only place you should get your Detroit jerseys from and worked on, and where we have an exclusive t-shirt collection. If you go to Vintage Detroit's website, click the Keep It Local tab, click the Grindline Podcast. You can find our designs there and help support the show and help support one of the best local jersey shops around. But that is going to do it for us tonight. So for Ryan and Tyler, I am Greg. You stay classy, Hockey Town.